they feature us.
So.
But we can go ahead and look at it. We have splash art here for Raum.
Oh,
and
yes.
that is what he's going to look like.
So good.
What a beef castle.
And we're getting to the point where we're going to end up, instead of like, you know, the Magistrate versus the Paladins, like we're going to have the Realm versus, or I guess the Abyss versus everyone else as they come through.
Right now in the realm, Raum is by far and away the greatest threat. We noticed also for a while we were definitely kind of beefing up the Paladin side quite a lot, so we wanted to
We've been called out on it too.
Yeah, we wanted to throw something a little crazy out there.
Well, you've completely delivered, I think, in just one splash art, the promise in the 2019 video of more skulls that would be coming through.
More skulls.
But it's not just the splash art we have. We have his turnaround, so you see him here in his 2D glory. Let's go ahead and take a look at him in his 3D glory as well.
The pyre will be filled with blood.
Yes.
Look at that tail.
Mess with the Raum, get the horn. The abyss consumes all.
So yeah, that's a minigun, which we will get into. But this is, well, he is the rage of the abyss that is coming forth and into fruition.
Make sure to check out his reveal trailer on Twitter as well, because it is phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's at Paladins game.
Yep.
Our
Comes
artist
through.
did such a good job on that.
Yeah, shout out to Alacrity. Wonderful work.
Where are we starting with this guy? I'm excited.
God,
I've been
so
waiting
much.
for months now to get this guy in the spotlight.
Well, I guess we got some lore. We've got the turnaround and the splash art. I guess the next step is to go for what class is he coming in as? I mean, someone as big as this, it
He's a
kind of
flank,
falls into
clearly.
I thought he was a healer.
Support, yes. Well, he heals someone. It's
Skulls and Blood heal people.
this is a front line, and this is a front line with no shield. So that is gameplay, the direction we wanted to go. We wanted to try and incorporate a champion that could sit on the front line, be effective, do a lot of things in disruption without actually requiring a shield, which is basically, obviously, what all of our frontline characters have. And then we have two perfect shields in Terminus and Atlas.
Yeah, so being able to come through. You have a front line, you can see in the bottom left there, 4,500 base health.
Correct.
That he's going to be coming into this.
No loadouts for this.
And yeah, no loadout. That is loaded up right now. So that's going to be what you start at with whatever you decide to run, as you'll be able to look through the cards, I'm assuming later. But his weapon here, the Hellfire Gatling.
Ooh. The Hellfire
boy.
Gatling.
The Hellfire Gatling. That has a weight to it just on its own. As you can imagine, it's a Gatling gun. And, well, it comes from the Abyss.
Yes, it is the Hellfire Gatling, so I'll just read off the base ability here. Is a Gatling gun from the depths of the Abyss that fragments its target's souls every 6 times an enemy is hit with its bullets. Deals 45 damage a shot every 0.05 seconds.
And...
Almost out. Time
done.
to reload.
Okay, so you were able to finish the description.
Oh, yeah, he was firing nonstop. I forgot about that.
He has 500 ammo in his clip, as you see right there. And you see there's a wind-up time, much like most Gatling guns, miniguns, anything like that. That's going to take him a little bit. But then it just keeps going for a little while. But you can see the damage there as it comes through.
Whoa, spoilers.
Enough to feel chunky, but not enough to burst people down. 500 rounds, it's probably difficult to balance, I imagine.
Yeah, we'll be definitely, obviously this is going to PTS, and we'll be taking a look at numbers as we go. But just visually, I think this is probably some of the most work we've ever put into a weapon, I would say.
Oh yeah, by far. The only kind of runner-up might be Kevin the Squid from Dredge's gun.
Oh god.
This gun, it just came out wonderful. Big shout out to Adam. Really helped with the core design. We've batted it back and forth a lot. My only real requirement out of this gun, aside from we knew we wanted a minigun, was it needed a skull on it that vomited bullet shells. So we hit it. I was very happy. But the bigger thing here is actually the reload. This idea was dropped in a team meeting one day, and it just sounded so cool. I kept saying it. Just praying we could get it to work, but thankfully I have a wonderfully talented team who brought it to life. Big shout out to Rollin, our animation team. I know Brett Jackson put a ton of work into the 1P presentation here, and we just kind of kept polishing until we hit a really great point. I mean, his reload, the idea was always, he's just a demon from the Abyss. He wants to kill and destroy everything. He doesn't have time to craft custom guns he cares about, so when it is spent, he just chucks it away and it melts. and he reaches through an abyss portal and actually grabs a new one summoned straight from hell and gets back to work.
And
It's pretty metal.
It is as metal as we could possibly get it.
is about as, I mean, everything you just listed there could be put on the cover of a metal album and fit perfectly.
That was
a skull
literally-
that vomits bullets
Yeah.
is the first one that I think gets the list, but melting
Yeah.
minigun that he then reaches through a portal from hell to pull out another minigun.
I was constantly telling the team, reference these kind of metal things. I mean, I even jokingly at one point said, Raum is the quarterback of demons. He is the Chad de factor of demons. Like, when you think of a demon, it is this guy.
Rom Chad?
Raum Chad.
He definitely comes
Future
through. Chad, Rage of the Abyss. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But Raum coming through. That is just the weapon. And his alt fire, I mean, if you've ever played anything with a minigun, this fits very, very in depth with how miniguns typically work. It's called ignition.
We'll start here slowly. We're just going straight in. So if you didn't notice, the weapon, we'll just start spinning it up from base. Once it gets down to base, it spins down at half speed. We can do this. We can get down to base and it not be spinning a bit. There we go. So you spin it up and it takes about 1 second to start firing, and then 3 seconds to hit max fire rate. Ignition bypasses all of that and puts you immediately at max spin. So it's really good to follow up after some of his other abilities. And you also consume no ammo for 3 seconds.
Yep.
One of the gameplay things we wanted to bring for Raum is that you never stop shooting, except when you're using your other abilities. It comes with a little bit of a cost. His reload will actually lock out a lot of his other abilities, so something just very small to take note gameplay-wise. It is the longest reload in the game, but for the most part, not something you're going to be worrying about. We want you to just be shooting this Hellfire Gatling non-stop during match.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here, and this might not be a number that you know off the top of your head, but when you are, I guess, have full ammo and you pop ignition, do you know how many bullets that is, or how, like, the duration that he can fire? Because it seems like a long time.
With the cooldown between the two, so it takes about probably like upwards of, I would say 16 to 20 anywhere is probably, if you get everything, get the correct cards, you could basically shoot for that long. You'll go through 2 ignition cycles for it.
You can.
In playtest, it's always felt awesome just round the corner and let loose. You become a big target really quickly for the other team, though, because you were just constantly laying down fire.
I mean, and there's constantly noise coming from you, too. Like, you are the most obvious, hey, shoot me target that there could be.
You
Also
are,
ignoring the fact that you're a big red demon.
you're an ult
This looks terrifying.
feeder. I will say. Opponents charge their ult off of Raum really well. He has, I think, the largest hitbox we've ever made. His head's relatively easy to hit compared to some other champions. And he is slowed while firing his Hellfire Gatling.
Yeah.
And so you imagine he's basically 100% walking around at 50% movement speed at all times. So it is very easy to connect and deal damage to Raum.
Yeah,
So you see a lot of ults charged off that.
A lot of kind of easy balance points, I guess, in that area where it's like, yeah, you're going to fire forever, but you're going to die in the process. So you're going to have to kind of figure out how you want to go forward with it. But to help him not die, we do have something. I think you've seen maybe some numbers that have been popping up on the UI, and that is coming with his first ability, his Soul Harvest.
Soul Harvest. So this is a multi-part ability, I would say, where first off, what you have is a passive called Soul Armor, and you'll see it as represented by the purple bar at the bottom. So this is uncauterizable health that sits above your health bar, essentially, right? So order of operations for players shooting you is they'll chunk through your Soul Armor first, and then they'll start hitting your base health. And obviously that can be cauterized when players are healing you. So every 6 shots, he generates a soul fragment from his enemies, pop, and each soul fragment grants him 200 soul armor. So what happens a lot of times is you'll just be very close because there is an auto seek range to your enemies, and so you're essentially in one-on-ones just constantly generating this soul armor and being defensive. This is his defensive mechanic, is I need to shoot things nonstop all game, right? Because that is what's actually generating your defensive mechanic, which is tied into the shoot all the time ideal of him. And then he can also use the ability itself to pull the skulls from range. Sorry, that was a mouthful trying to explain every aspect. Basically, you press ability 1, and then you absorb souls to you, and you get soul armor.
So you're saying Skull's good. I've
Skull's
been telling
good.
everyone this forever now.
Skull's
That's
good.
been your motto. Your
That's
life,
just,
like, you've
you
been
know,
living your life
Can
this
we
way.
can we generate some soul fragments at range and then pull them to him?
So yeah, the concept is, so the soul fragment, like his passive kind of is that generates every time he fires. And then when they're on the ground outside of your auto-seek range, your ability just pulls them to you. And so conceptually, you're standing on the point maybe as this tank, you're trying to melt anyone and everyone from range, you're just firing. At that point, you don't have to worry about your movement speed being really slow, you're just shooting. And then every now and then you take a break and say, okay, let's heal me up, stay on the point, and keep fighting. And I think the thing that caught my ear the most, you said uncauterizable health at the top.
Soul armor is not, it is represented as health to your max number you see there, but the purple aspects of it, which are your soul armor representation, are uncauterizable. And that goes up to 4,000 soul armor.
Okay, so you can get up to a certain amount. I also believe, if I'm reading this correctly, you get 1,500 on activation of your ability, and then collect all the rest.
So if you don't have any skulls out, you still get some defensive ability by just engaging the ability, which is super important too.
And so no shield, but still has some ways to sustain himself. He's not going to just stand there and protect his teammates. He can kind of dish damage out while staying in the fight.
The best defense is shooting people with a Gatling gun.
Yep.
I'll have you know.
That's what he lives by as of this point.
It's very metal.
The best defense is a good offense. That's what you're saying.
I know, that's the actual one.
The skulls are just super edgy. I love it.
They come through. They look really good there on the ground. And again, there's an auto-seek range for them. You can pull them in with your soul harvest. Or if you really, really don't have enough skulls out there, you've run out of bullets somehow, then you can always use your second ability here, Juggernaut, to get on out.
I'm sorry, this is...
Oh, it's so awesome.
This is one of my favorite abilities in Paladins. It may be my favorite ability in Paladins.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's going.
I will just let you witness the
Move,
glory.
Cassie, get out the way.
Again, just cannot thank the animation team enough for all their hard work here. Just absolutely incredible to play with this in game. Caitlin, I know, worked on this quite a bit. It just came out wonderful.
There's a lot of back and forth between multiple departments to get this ability where it was at. And I really like, you've probably noticed it as well, the Raum kind of has a secondary lightning motif, red lightning motif throughout his kit. It's more subtle, but I think this is the ability it's most pronounced.
Yeah. That came in actually a little late in the process. We were leaning on a lot of fire motifs for him, which was obvious and cool, but again, the lightning just kind of gives him a bit more of a unique flavor, feels a bit more abyss-driven, just looks amazing on that ability especially.
Something to note to you probably guys, gameplay-wise, is hitting players with Juggernaut generates soul shards as well. I think it's 3. I'm fairly confident it's 3.
And it is terrifying mid-match to see that guy just come
Running
barreling
at
around
you.
a corner.
I imagine,
oh my
like,
God.
you win a point fight, like you just took it back, and then the next thing you see is Raum just running you down, ready to knock you off and then ignite into a minigun shot. It's going to be dangerous to play against.
You better...
I also say, I think my favorite thing is he throws his gun off and it
Oh
just
no!
He went home to the abyss.
Cassie brought a red flag and waved it, and he, went right through
got
it.
him.
There are
She got him.
cards to increase
Olay.
the knock-up that he applies, as well as the distance as well. So if you guys want to just run around with that ability, which I have definitely made a loadout for, it is fun.
This is hoof oppression right there.
Hoof oppression.
He has hooves, but he is still riding a horse.
Yeah, well,
True.
he has to get somewhere.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
Rage
he
of the
is
Abyss
the
can't
rage
walk
of the
on his
yeah.
own feet the entire time.
He shouldn't ever have to walk on his
Oh,
own
look
feet.
at this too. There's
Look
also
at this.
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No,
This
go
is
ahead.
a great emote.
It is.
There's no sound to it yet, though, but it'll be in there for PTS.
Yes, they will
So
have
you'll
sound.
get some sound for that. But that is Juggernaut as you are
Wait,
rampaging
actually-
through.
Is the audio in? It almost sounds
I think it's
like
subtle.
Yeah,
I talked
it's
to our
real
sound
quiet,
engineers
that's what it
is.
this
You gotta turn it
morning,
up.
and they did a bunch of work last night, but they didn't wasn't able to get in for the patch in the show.
So the idea there is it'll have this kind of like demonic metal theme playing in the background while you're doing that.
Yeah,
Just, as metal as we can get it.
Yeah, with everything that you want coming through. Shredding Fernando right there as you are generating your skull fragments, whether they are coming through your shattered souls, whether they're coming from your minigun, your dash, you're harvesting them from range. One thing that's going to come through is his ult, which is called Cataclysm.
Oh, so cool.
Just unleash it. Oh yeah. So you raise your foot and then you slam it down, creating a cataclysm in the realm itself. You have some limited turning capabilities, 60 degrees left or right from the point of origin that you started, and it also destroys shields and deployables.
So good.
So not too big of a turn. So when you throw it out, you have to be ready to have thrown it out. But I will
can't
just
180
say,
around.
I love the effects on this. Like not just the flames, but like the hands coming up to grab people.
Yeah, that was actually originally kind of concepted one of his card arts from wonderful artist Casey. And again, I feel like this is almost turning into the Rollins show at this point, but he just kills it every time. We really wanted to sell the initial burst of the kind of wall of flame, but the kind of soul hands reaching up out of the ground, like grabbing victims and pulling them down to the abyss.
So deals some damage, stuns people.
Skulls, I saw too, right?
Yep. It'll generate skulls as well, soul fragments. And you'll also see that it's 5 distinct hits, which will stop. Right, so if 2 get caught on a wall, the other 3 can continue to move forward. So it'll work around walls a little bit better.
He's going to be able to come through. You can see right here, Enforcer. This is your default talent that is going to be enabled. So this is when you use Juggernaut, when you're dashing around and running through the realm. You reduce your damage taken by 75%, very similar to what Ashe has going on hers. Just if you are using this to disengage or maybe to re-engage, you don't die as fast.
And this is definitely a better ability than Ashe's when you look at the numbers. So 75% is plenty,
much more of a balance.
Plenty enough for him.
Yeah,
So
this will
he's-
get you out of a tight spot pretty reliably, I would say.
So with 4,500 health at base, when you generate some of those shattered souls as you're running around and you pull them in, you're going to be able to kind of make it through there a little bit with your 75% reduction. But that's the default one. That's what you're going to be
default.
playing with at level 1. If you come in, you play a lot of Raum, you get your level 2, you're going to get his talent Earth Splitter.
And you split the earth faster.
Yeah, you
That's
split
it.
the Earth.
You're splitting the earth. No, your ultimate charge rate is increased by 60%. So we've done, those that have followed a couple years of Paladins know that we have had ultimate talents that have fell kind of flat, mostly because you need to make the ability so powerful in a very distinct window that it's very hard to get into a good spot without it being like good enough to play is normally that it makes your ultimate too powerful, and it's like a guaranteed team wipe. For Raum specifically, we went a different direction where it's almost a normal ability. He actually has a higher base charge rate on his ultimate than any other champion, and now this will obviously amplify that effect. So you'll be using it fairly frequently as you're in combat, and so I'm really excited to see kind of how that dynamic plays. Right, it's one of the gameplay reasons why I think he can concede without a shield. Is the fact that he can destroy other shields and deployables at a higher frequency than most players can ult.
So I've got to ask, does it stack with morale boost? So if you get 60% here and then buy up to morale boost 3, can you get it up
Should stack
to the
off
point where you're
the
ulting?
base.
The base?
Not the improved number.
So it'll still improve, but nowhere near as much. It
they
won't go
all-
to like 70%.
They won't all amplify off each other.
Yeah.
It'll apply the morale boost to his base charge rate, and then the Earth Splitter to the base charge rate, and then all of those will be added together.
So it'll go up, but it's not 70, 80, 90 at top.
You're
It'll
not
be like
increasing
60,
the percentage increase.
60 something, maybe still 60 something if you get tier 2. So you'll be faster, but not quite as fast as I think you'd want to. But then his last one, level 8, you get Subservience, which this kind of helps him be a team player instead of just all Raum all the time. And this heals allies within 40 units of you for 100 each, or for each soul fragment that you collect.
Yeah, and this it's small, right? But it's important to note, gameplay-wise, you're going to be constantly shooting with Raum and generating this all the time, and allies can almost essentially use you as a moving healing station. This will require, I expect it to not be as popular, right? It's a little bit more coordination, and players need to be aware that you are running this talent. But I am excited to see how that dynamic will play, where it's kind of huddle on Raum as a healing totem that's kind of walking around shooting everything.
I can imagine like in a weird triple front line, like you've got like Barrack, Raum, Makoa, Grok, Grover, and you're just like, we're all just gonna huddle on the point,
Oh, man.
and you cannot do anything about it. Or, well, you can try, see what you can do. Buy your cauterizes and pray at that point.
Just hope.
It's only 100 each, so, you know, cauterize actually hits this pretty hard as far as it could be. But early game with a lot of damage, and especially with how many it goes through, it's still going to be a lot of healing that could potentially generate.
He's so metal.
So metal.
So cool.
Can we?
I love it.
Again, I want to give a special shout out real quick to our tech artist Kyle. Raum has so many kind of special hookups we had to deal with on this particular character, but ultimately I feel like we've landed on such a polished champion that it's just, I am so insanely proud of the work this team has done. Obviously, I love demons, so I mean,
You're totally biased here.
I'm a little biased.
It's fine, though.
He's my baby.
Because even non-demon lovers love Raum.
Yes,
He's your little demon boy.
my little demon boy, all grown up.
Yeah, you guys might have noticed it too. If you, it doesn't actually do damage, but just again, kind of, we're taking longer on champions in our cycle, so we can create more enjoyable experiences as you play them. I think. Just when he does Juggernaut, you actually see him throw his weapon.
Yeah.
And it explodes. It's not doing damage, but just the small little extra
Looks
polish
cool.
elements that look cool, and are kind of make I think the whole character complete.
Yes, I certainly benefited from our new schedule somewhat, but Raum is kind of the first champion start to finish, I'd say, on our new kind of schedule. And I think the quality improvement is just really obvious.
It's so much about it's phenomenal. From animation to just how it plays, the feel, all of
Yep.
it is working out really, really well.
I mean, I've gone to numerous playtests and had a blast. I mean, I have with all our champions, but
Yeah.
with Raum, I've just laughed.
With Raum, you made
absolute
sure to
glee.
go to all the
Yes. Like, getting in a Raum fight as Raum is hysterical. I love it to death. It's like one of my favorite things in Paladins. You're just two giant walls of muscle shooting each other, and the team play really becomes important at that
Yeah.
point.
There's this really interesting dynamic with Raum fights, where Raum versus Raum, they really can't kill each other unless, like, they can. It just takes a while because they're both obviously shooting each other,
Yep.
but generating soul fragments and soul armor off each other.
Yeah.
And then you basically have to have. It'll go on for
Yeah.
a minute straight if
It's
they were left
hysterical.
alone.
Love it.
You have to, like, but then if you're the Raum that stops shooting, you stop generating your soul armor,
Yep.
and then you actually become susceptible to dying. So you kind of get locked in this, like, I'm not backing off, and then you have to have allies come and help you one way or the other. It's a lot of fun. It's a very interesting gameplay dynamic.
Well, there he is in all his glory. We can go ahead and take a peek at what else he will look like throughout the realm. Go ahead and jump to his recolor.
Yeah.
Subjugator
Did a hell of a good job
Realm.
on that.
And this feels
That was
more
damn good.
abyssal themed, right? Like you had said, he was kind of already
Yes.
slightly off color, coming in as red. Most of the abyss we've seen has been like darker.
Like with purple.
This kinda
This one's
fits.
actually a little different. This is even darker than our normal dark stuff. We just wanted to say, like, it is a mostly all black demon with just hellfire powered. We even gave him a flaming crown. Looks great in game. This is the more traditional abyssal
Love
color.
that one.
And this one's the season pass Abyssal Lord that will come through. I wonder where I've heard that name before. Abyssal
know.
Lord being able to come through. But yeah, the kind of standard purple that's going to come through. And, well, like all of the new champions that we've had, he also has a gold skin coming with his release. And now that looks awesome.
Well, you know, Golden Crown of Flames, man. What's
I'm,
better than that?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the golden crown,
Yeah.
the flaming crown.
And just the armor. Like, it feels like, I mean, naturally, because you have to level him up to this point, but this is what happens, like, when you get gilded, like, he's just killed so many, maybe
Yeah.
other gold skins in the game that he's just been harvesting it.
This is an ascended demon.
It's going to be able to come through. But we didn't have it at the beginning. We do have it right now. What is going to kind of showcase him as you get into the Rage of the Abyss, into the realm with him, the Raum trailer.
Another failure. Another weak man. Desperate for a solution. No matter the cost. They turn to us. They always do. And they always regret it. No man can control the abyss. No man can control Raum.
I like that there's, in my mind now, there's lore that there's certain